We all have rituals, right? Whether it's that first cup of coffee in the morning or a weekly meeting at work. We usually just see them as habits, maybe some are even superstitions, but what if there's a much deeper science to them? What if they're actually an ancient technology designed to unlock a whole different reality? What if there were a practical, step-by-step method for your own personal transformation? A way to do something so precisely that it fundamentally changes your connection to the entire universe. That's the big idea we're going to dive into. And this quote right here, it really gets to the heart of it. The idea is that wisdom isn't just about knowing stuff, collecting facts. It actually requires a key, a practical way to apply it. And that key, as we're about to see, is the ritual. So, our guide for this journey is the work of Master E.K., an Indian spiritual teacher. His Book of Rituals, which was amazingly dictated in just 12 days back in 1967, is going to be our source for understanding this pretty profound science. Okay, so why do we even need rituals in the first place? What's the fundamental problem they're actually trying to solve? Well, according to our source, it's a problem that's literally built into the very fabric of who we are. Just think about it for a second. Our instincts, our emotions, all our personal biases, they create this kind of bubble around our consciousness, a protective shell. And this shell filters everything we experience, which means we very rarely perceive genuine, unfiltered reality. It's almost like having a confirmation bias for reality itself. We get stuck seeing the world through our own little substituted version of it. And this is exactly where the science of rituals comes in. See, it's not about what you know, it's all about what you do. It gives you a very specific way of doing things that allows you to methodically pierce through that protective shell and connect with the bigger universal nature that's waiting just beyond your own. So, how does this doing part actually work its magic? How can a physical action really impact our consciousness? Well, the answer lies in a universal language, one that's way older than any human alphabet. The source makes a really crucial distinction here. Man-made symbols, like the very letters you're seeing on the screen, are limited. They only mean something because we've all agreed on their meaning. But universal symbols, the ones drawn from geometry, from nature, from the cosmos, they speak a language our minds understand on a much, much deeper level. They're archetypes, what the text calls the language of the gods, and they totally bypass our filters and communicate directly with our consciousness. Just take a look at what the book calls the oldest symbol of all, a circle with a dot in the center. It represents the most fundamental condition of existence. You have an observer, that's the center, and their horizon, that's the circumference. Every single living being is a center looking out at its own horizon. This one simple symbol captures that universal truth perfectly. And this is a fantastic example of how a familiar symbol can hold a way deeper meaning. We all know pi as a mathematical constant, right? But in this ritualistic context, its shape is seen as a two-legged being, man, bearing the line of wisdom right on his shoulders. It's a symbol for the universal consciousness entering into the human form. Pretty cool, huh? This brings us to two sides of the same coin. The practice of ritual has an operative side. That's the physical act, the doing. It's all about precision, teamwork. Then you've got the speculative side. That's the intellectual and intuitive understanding of all the symbolism. The source argues that real transformation only happens when these two work together in harmony, when perfect action inspires deep understanding, which then in turn refines the action. All right, this theory is all fascinating for sure, but what does it actually look like in practice? The book gives us some absolutely incredible examples from one of the world's most ancient traditions, the Vedic rituals of India. So the whole foundation of this tradition rests on four main texts, the Vedas. You've got hymns, music, applications for daily life, the whole shebang. But for what we're talking about, the key one is the Yajur Veda. You can think of it as the master instruction manual. It details the precise, practical steps for the rituals, everything from building altars to the specific actions you need to perform. Now, I want you to focus on this number for a second. 24. To us, it might not seem that special, but in the Vedic system, this isn't just a number, it's a cosmic formula. So, how can a number be a cosmic formula? Well, this is where rituals start to encode cosmic patterns. The most famous Vedic chant, or meter, is called the Gayatri, and it has, you guessed it, precisely 24 syllables. This is not random. It directly symbolizes the 24 hours of the day and the 24 major lunar phases of the year, the 12 full moons and 12 new moons. By chanting it, the ritualist is literally aligning their own being with the fundamental cycles of time. The rituals themselves are these deeply symbolic dramas. In the consecration ritual, the person literally reenacts their own birth. They lie down in a fetal position, they get sprinkled with water that represents the seed, and then they're wrapped in layers that represent the womb and the placenta. And when they finally emerge, it symbolizes a spiritual rebirth, a conscious entry into a totally new state of awareness. And the symbolism is just incredibly poetic. This quote is from the description of the horse sacrifice, one of the grandest Vedic rituals. In it, the entire day, the entire year, is seen as the body of a sacrificial horse. The glow right before sunrise is its head. The ritual is a way of meditating on time itself as a living, divine being. So, what does all this ancient wisdom have to do with us today? The book suggests that this isn't just about preserving old traditions. It's about understanding a timeless technology for human development. See, the ultimate purpose of all of these elaborate ceremonies is something called initiation. And we're not talking about joining a secret club, but initiation into ever-expanding layers of your own consciousness. It's a method for self-realization, a practical path to merging your individual self with the cosmic self. And the author leaves us with a really fascinating thought. This technology isn't static, it's being updated. The idea is that the core truths of these ancient mysteries are being stripped of their cultural baggage, renovated, and unified for the modern world, creating a single, universal path of initiation for all of humanity. And that leaves us with one final, really powerful question. The text suggests that eventually, life itself stops being a problem and becomes a kind of mystery play, a sacred ritual. So, if your whole life can be conducted with this level of purpose and symbolism, what's the ultimate aim of the performance? What temple are you trying to build?